Dear everybody, I have a confession to make. I am sick of how we Christians deal with the world. Okay, maybe that's too harsh. Dear everybody, I think we need a new perspective, a wider view of what it means to be in the world, but not of it. There must be a better way.
The pace of modern society is often fast. The beat is sometimes frantic. The need to belong is ever present.
Evan!
Amy, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that perspective change you were talking about. This is my friend Amy Sherman.
Okay.
She's a researcher and a writer, and she's done a lot of thinking on what it means to be a Christian in the modern world. Strangers in a strange land, all that.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about this.
It seems like everywhere you look, it's just a mess.
Okay.
We've got wars, culture wars, climate change, red state, blue state, you hear what I'm saying? Equality issues.
And all we Christians can seem to do is just get caught up in it. And we're supposed to be in the world, but not of the world, but I'm just not sure anyone really knows what that means. So help me out here, Amy Sherman.
Sure.
I don't even know where to start.
I think your first instinct is right. What if for too long we've been looking at our salvation only as a means of personal atonement? God's plan for all things is a grander story than that. What if there's a bigger question? Like, what is our salvation actually for?
That's the key question, right there. Did you hear it?
What is our salvation actually for?
What is our salvation for? For the life of the world? Amy, I think I need to call you back. There's a title sequence in my front yard.
Okay.
This is the story of the bigger picture.
Evan, welcome to Exile.
The deeper mystery of faith. This is the story of God's mission in the world and our place in it. I'm Evan.
Hi, I'm Evan.
These are my friends.
Evan, what's going on?
And this is For the Life of the World, Letters to the Exiles. Amy.
Evan, sorry about that. We must have gotten disconnected.
No problem.
Where were we?
We were talking about the purpose of salvation. What's it for?
What is our salvation actually for? Okay, yeah. We are to be in the world, but if we look a bit deeper into the issues, we see that Christians view culture and the rest of the world in a us versus them mentality, like we're being invaded. We see it play out in three ways. The first response to culture is what my pastor Greg Thompson calls fortification. We put up walls, shut the world out. It's a bunker mentality. The second common response is domination. This approach engages in culture and condemns it and fights against it. This is the culture warrior mentality. Finally, there are the accommodationists, and they're a response to this war mentality.
Hey, Ben, what's going on? Come on over.
These are the types that engage culture but completely lose their identities.
Everybody drinks and smokes. All right, just one beer.
To keep the boat from rocking, we jettison the gospel. Jettison the gospel. Jettison the gospel. Jettison the gospel. Jettison the gospel.
Okay, so like I said, this is For the Life of the World, and I'm Evan Koons. And what we're trying to do here is establish a clear perspective on being in the world, but not of it. So I've rounded up a group of people way smarter than me to help explain it all. Excuse me just one moment while I make another quick phone call.
Hello?
Dwight.
Hey, Evan, are we on?
Yeah, this is Dwight Gibson. He's the Chief Exploration Officer for his company, the Exploration Group in Philadelphia. People commission him to explore the world and create new ideas for their businesses and organizations. Dwight, I found these all over my yard.
Oh, it's a Chinese lantern.
Yeah, see what you can find out for me by the end of the episode.
How long's an episode?
Oh, hey, somebody's here, okay? Listen, I gotta go. Now, for the sake of time, enjoy meeting Stephen Grabill through the stylings of my voiceover.
Okay, Dr. Stephen Grabill is a theologian and scholar.
What's up, man?
And the editor of the Stewardship Study Bible.
Good to see you.
He has degrees in philosophy and political science with an MTS, a THM, and a PhD from Calvin Theological Seminary. He's written and edited books on Protestant social thought, Abraham Kuyper, ethics and economics. In other words, the dude knows his stuff.
Hey, I got you something.
Oh,
And when he's not researching theology at Acton Institute, a think tank in Grand Rapids, Michigan, he's bringing me books and sitting in my library.
Signs of Jonas.
Come on.
All right, here.
And sometimes my art studio.
Fortification, domination, accommodation. Man, there's a lot to those ideas.
Yeah.
I think we need to unpack them a little bit. What do you think?
I would really appreciate that, actually.
All right. You know, I kind of discerned a common theme running throughout all of those ideas. And basically, it's urgency. Urgency, urgency. If we don't act now, we're going to end up in some crisis. Crisis. And something awful, irreversible even, is going to happen. But what we have to do is actually take a totally different view of culture. Deep-rooted cultural change takes about a generation, which in biblical times was measured by 70 years.
Sure.
And I don't think very many of us have the patience for that today. We need a whole different perspective on the matter. Are you listening to me?
Yes. No, what? I'm sorry. I'm totally... No, sorry.
This is something that we forget all the time. We just fail to remember this, that we're strangers in a strange land. Welcome to Exile. Welcome, not home. We're all strangers here, and we're all at points estranged from God, but we're trying to find our way home in accordance with his purpose. It's too abstract.
So that's what I'm interested in. How do we do that?
You know what, Evan? The best way to understand exile is to kind of go back to the scriptures and what Jeremiah was talking to the children of Israel about in Jeremiah 29. Jeremiah 29 is the prophet's final instructions for Israel, as well as a promise of restoration, before the Babylonians came to take them into captivity. It was a routing of the land, and Jeremiah 29:7 is the key. And what do you think he told them to do? Seek the welfare of the city into which I've placed you, and in seeking that welfare, you will find your own welfare. Try that one on for size. What this means is the way we evaluate everything, our success, our purpose, all that big picture stuff changes because it's all about the welfare of the places into which we've been placed, those cities.
There's a little bit of me that just feels like it's like we're accommodating the city.
I can see how it might seem that way, but it wasn't Jeremiah's intention for the children of Israel to sort of just blend in to the Babylonians. Remember what Jeremiah does before they go into exile? He buys a plot of land, gets the deed to it, and he buries the deed. He buries the deed not because he'll come back and dig it up later. He'll be dead. But he does know that there will be a return from exile. He has hope in the fulfillment of God's promises to Israel. And so he's unafraid to enter into that Babylonian captivity because he has faith that God will realize his purposes, even if this present generation is not around to witness it.
Well, that puts some things in perspective.
Maybe what God asked of the Israelites in captivity, he's asking of us today. Just like John the Baptist pointed to Jesus and the future coming of the kingdom, so we are pointing to a new reality that's often to the future, even if it's somewhat present right now. We're not the Messiah. We're people that prepare the way. Are we willing to do that hard work?
For something we might not even see?
For something that we might not even ourselves be able to envision. Can we stand in the midst of exile while the whole place seems to burn? Can we allow ourselves to do the humble work of sowing and tilling so that another can come along and reap? Can we be so bold as to declare that that work is preparing the way of the Lord?
Well, the key, though, is like understanding what we mean by the way of the Lord. And that's something I don't.
I was hoping you'd say that. Come on. I want to say just one word to you. Just one word.
Yes, sir.
Are you listening?
Yes, I am.
Oikonomia.
Exactly how do you mean?
There's a great future in oikonomia. Will you think about it?
Yes, I will.
Shh, enough said. That's a deal. It's getting late. I have to go.
Okay. So, to understand the way of the Lord, maybe we need a fresh set of terms, a new language. A new language which is really an old language. Oikonomia, house management, stewardship, see economy. Economy, from the Greek oikonomia, the management of a household, an arrangement or mode of operation. Okay. So there's God's plan, our part in God's plan, God's house, our house management, God's purpose for the whole kit and caboodle, and our work in the nitty-gritty. Okay, so let's call God's big purpose, the plan for his whole household of creation, let's call that oikonomia. And all the specific areas and modes of operation, the ones that he's designed us to work in, you know, like our families, our jobs, our governments and charities, schools, institutions, let's call those our economies, our house management. This is getting too abstract. I need to think of a way to harmonize these ideas. Harmonize. Music. This is a ukulele. You can't play this like you play a xylophone. A xylophone has its own way of making sound, its own unique patterns and techniques, its own mode of operation. Let's call it its own economy. You can't play it like a ukulele. You have to play it like a xylophone. And how a xylophone works might be different than, say, how like a banjo works. Because a banjo has its own economy. Or like a trombone. Or like an upright bass. And all of these instruments, they have their own rules, their own economies, and they can make beautiful music by themselves. But what if they're meant to be played together? What if they're meant for something bigger? Something like a song.
This is God's plan for all of creation. This is how we see God's activity in the world, and this is what we'll call oikonomia.
Wait a second.
What is the actual song, anyway?
All this gift.
In the beginning, a triune God was tripping and flipping and dancing and spilling all over himself. And he said, "Let there be light." Gift. Darkness. Gift. Earth. Sky. Animals. It was all pure gift. But in all that goodness, there was nothing in the material world that could reciprocate. There was nothing that could respond to God. And then, enter a gift better than anything else. Crafted in God's own image, with his own breath. Crowned with glory and honor, enter us. And in that same abundance, he blessed us and he said, go explore my world, unwrap the gift of my creation. Bless the world with your own gifts. But then there was that tree. And a funny thing about that tree, it wasn't a gift. And wouldn't you know, we took it anyway. And there was death and confusion, and it's like we forgot what life was all about. Being gift givers. And in taking what God didn't offer, we severed our relationship with him. And all creation suffered. Then there came that day when God gave us another gift. God himself becomes a man, and the gift he offers to the Father is himself. And all of creation is in tow behind him. Once and for all, he restores the way of our purpose. He restores our priesthood. We can once again offer to God our lives, our work, our knowledge, everything. We join our gifts with Christ to offer the world to the Father in love and for the life of the world. And that is the purpose of our salvation. That's what it's for the life of the world.
Hello?
Hey, Evan, this is Dwight.
Oh, hey, Dwight, you're right on time.
Hey, listen, the story behind these Chinese lanterns, it's really beautiful. I made something for you. Take this and enjoy.
Thanks, Dwight.
Something to think about. What does it take to transform a city? Think about that, okay?
Okay.
Okay, hey, get a run. Bye-bye.
We'll see you. Transform a city.
A single sky lantern, rice paper, a bamboo frame, a bit of wax, a wick, all built from stuff of the earth, but made for fire, made for the heavens, made in order to be let go. Who are we to be in exile? I mean, how are we to be in exile? Are we to hide, to fight, to blend in? Or can we, even in the everyday things, learn to see our work as a gift to heaven by working for the life of the world, for the good of this city of exile into which we've been sent? For all our work in this world is made of stuff of the earth, our families, our labor, our governments and charities and schools and art forms. All of it takes place here below, but all of it is pointed toward heaven. All of it is, in a sense, holy. Imagine if all of us offered our work for the good of the cities around us. How might we be able to change those cities? What would it look like if we only understood that our humble work is a heavenward offering? What would our city of exile look like then? Dear everybody, the psalmist writes, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. For he founded it on the seas and established it on the waters." Now listen to the words of Jeremiah. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. This is our economic responsibility. In our families, our work, and our communities, and every broken place. Each of these economies is designed to work as a humble part of God's oikonomia, his economy of all things. All of our work is designed to bring flourishing to the world, to be an act of priesthood, an act of blessing, an offering.
Signs of Jonas.
This priesthood was our original calling and has been restored to us through the gracious blood of Jesus. His song in the world is gift, and we are called to play this song in all we do. So go, live in your true nature, with the work of your hands, your everyday work, and the words of your mouth, the very breath that you breathe. Bless and sanctify the world. Make it a gift and offer it back to God for his glory and for the life of the world. Yours, Evan.